This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Campbell Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, emotions are running high in Oahu as residents come to terms with losing everything in a major fire. Avid anglers cast their lines into Lake Wakatipu, taking part in an annual fishing competition. And maybe the world's oldest junior competitor takes to the golf course with a playing partner less than half his age. Tēnā koutou katoa, ngā mihi o te ahi nei, kia ora. I'm Simon Anderson. Up to 50 homes have been destroyed by fire at Lake Oahu village over the weekend. The fire began around 3 a.m. yesterday, forcing evacuations as fire ripped through the settlement and prompting the government to contribute $100,000 to a mayoral relief fund.
Fire crews continue to battle an active fire which has burnt much of Lake Oahu village. Authorities confirm between 40 and 50 homes and structures have been destroyed.
So devastating for the community there, but Civil Defence and FENZ, Fire and Emergency New Zealand, on the ground doing everything they can, of course, to support the community.
Evacuations began around 3 a.m. from the normally idyllic lakeside village in the Waitaki district after residents were woken by the massive blaze. Chris Spears says he didn't hear the fire but was woken by the telephone.
And I got a phone call from the village. One of the ladies in the village rang me and she just said who she was. It's Barbara here, get out, there's a big fire heading your way, just get out.
Conservation Minister Eugenie Sage and Civil Defence Minister Penny Hanare visited the scene today with Waitaki District Mayor Gary Kershaw.
What we just witnessed was truly devastating, and all of the feedback that we've had from FENZ and seasoned operators here says that this is a significant event with large property damage and loss, and our thoughts are with those property owners and with the people of this community.
Just seeing cars that have had their tyres completely melted, that are shells, bunk bed frames and houses that are completely gone, and just people having to come to grips with that and the grief and the loss of houses, possessions and memories in that. And to repeat the thanks that Minister Hanare has given to FENZ, to the 2 Department of Conservation crews that are up there today, for the volunteers and everyone who is doing their utmost to contain and control this fire.
This is really a tragic situation and one that I hoped I'd never have to deal with, but unfortunately we have it. I want to express my gratitude to FENZ and to the other agencies that have been involved.
12-year-old Oahu resident William Brown was among those evacuated very early yesterday morning.
Well, we woke up at like 3 o'clock and there was a fire outside our window and it was scary. I thought Mum was overreacting, but no.
This afternoon, Fire and Emergency New Zealand says as of midday, the fire has burnt 4,600 hectares, 1,900 of which is conservation estate. The fire has a perimeter of 41 kilometres. 11 helicopters and 8 ground crews are fighting the fire in challenging conditions with strong winds and warm temperatures. In Twizel, the South Today.
Heavy rain caused surface flooding in parts of southern Southland yesterday. Both Invercargill and Riverton saw waters rise and some roads close. Firefighters were busy pumping water after several properties in Marama Avenue North and Invercargill were affected by backyard flooding. Firefighters also pumped water from a property in Bainfield Road. Some coastal parts of Riverton, including Walker Street and Taramia Bay, where water reached knee height, were cordoned off yesterday. Southland Mayor and Riverton resident Gary Tong says the impact of yesterday's surface flooding was much less severe than during the February floods. Southland residents were asked to avoid unnecessary driving as it would push water from flooded streets into nearby houses. Anglers from all over the South Island flocked to Glenorchy over the weekend to see who could catch the heaviest fish in Lake Wakatipu. However, this year's event coincided with rough weather and high waves on the lake.
14-year-old Seamus Hickey of Christchurch casts off in this year's Glenorchy fishing competition at Lake Wakatipu on Saturday. Over 140 anglers from across the lower South Island tried their luck from the shore and boats in what were some of the roughest conditions in the competition's 39-year history.
It's about as rough as I've ever been in the water, actually. The waves were as high as I was in the boat.
Despite the windy conditions, more than 60 fish ended up on the assessment table at the Glenorchy Hall.
Yeah, sometimes when the weather's rough like that, the fish are biting, so I think that's been the case today. And sounds like everyone's made it back safely, so that's the main thing. And Otago Fish and Game Officer Paul Van Klink says the annual competition helps them keep tabs on the quality of the fishery. So what we're doing is looking at all the fish. We've got salmon, rainbow trout and brown trout being weighed in today, and we're taking the lengths and the weights of all those fish for the competition, and also we collect that data for the health of the fishery and having a look at what's sort of the trends out there.
The heaviest fish of the day was a brown trout weighing almost 2.5 kilos. In Glenorchy, the South Today.
A South Dunedin road was closed after a power pole was knocked over yesterday. Aberdeen Road in St Clair was blocked just before midday on Sunday by a fallen power line after a vehicle hit a power pole in the street. The wooden power pole had been knocked over and a power line was drooping down to about 2 metres above the ground. Emergency services and electricity company workers worked to rectify the problem. Further details on the crash site were not immediately available. An 89-year-old golfer in Ranfurly was preparing to compete in the local club's Junior B competition on Friday. Bill Graham has already won the title 3 times in recent years, meeting criteria because he holds a handicap of 24.
Sam, you tell them.
Playing golf. There might be more than 6 decades between them, but when Billy Graham and Sam Miller meet on the golf course today, age won't matter. The pair will play off against each other for the Manitoto Golf Club's Junior B title. Graham, a 60-year veteran at the club, holds a handicap of 24, the cut-off to qualify for the ironically named division. And despite the 89-year-old's vast experience and Miller's youth, neither is sure who will come out on top on Saturday.
I think I'm just about worn out.
With recent form plays on, it'll be Billy taking it out, I think. I'm the underdog.
I wouldn't say that, no, not really.
This year is likely to be Graham's last year competing, with a 6-kilometre walk around the club catching up to him. Though he still tried to go around the course in under 100, and the Junior B title is one he has claimed 3 times in recent years. Though when he finally does hang up his clubs, he'll be able to look fondly back on the sport he's been playing since giving up rugby 63 years ago.
Just something you had to do, I suppose, to get in amongst the crowd and get to meet people. Yeah, we met a lot of people through golf.
And it's not just the Junior B title at stake on Saturday. Making the matchup even more interesting is Miller's employment. The apprentice electrician works for Graham Electrical in Ranfurly, a business set up by Graham and now run by his 2 sons.
Sam's not long joined us, enjoying it, I think.
I think, yeah, it's good. It's good, Billy. You taught him well, I think. And if he wins on Saturday, Graham is making no guarantees about whether Miller will have a job come Monday.
There is a chance.
In Ranfurly, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today. About 50 people dress up like English singer Kate Bush and dance in the Octagon, and we begin a series of one-on-one interviews with political hopefuls, starting with one Jacinda Ardern. Ka kite akwanai.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Hi, Campbell Menswear. We're back in George Street on the corner of Hanover Street. Come and check out our big store. It's a big space full of bargains. Now look at these shirts. There's shirts for everybody here. Look at these merino pullovers, stacks of moleskins, literally tons of trousers. Check out these big racks of sports jackets. Beautiful.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So come and check out Alex Campbell Menswear. We're back on George Street in the old ANZ building.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
Hoki mai anō, welcome back. Port Otago has posted a near record profit despite declines in activities such as containers, logs and cruise ships. The port company's property arm saw investments grow in value by almost $30 million, helping push the after-tax profit to $50 million for the last 12 months. Chairman Paul Rea says the port reacted to some changes from border closures by reducing costs and finding a sustainable level of operating. As a result, Port Otago has been able to pay a $10 million dividend to the Otago Regional Council, up $1.5 million from last year. A crowd of people in red dresses danced in Dunedin's Octagon to a song recorded before some of them were born. Kate Bush fans around the world dress up annually to hold most Wuthering Heights Day events. However, COVID-19 delayed this year's Dunedin event until the weekend.
The Wuthering Heights some people will go to. When English pop singer Kate Bush released the song Wuthering Heights in 1978, she could hardly have known the dance she choreographed at age 18 would inspire global events. Saturday's Most Southern Wuther was supposed to have happened mid-July, in line with other events around the world. But as COVID-19 put paid to that, local organiser Mandy Mayhem got in touch with the UK-based organisers and was given the go-ahead to hold this event.
And they said, oh my God, New Zealand, you've done so well, you should definitely come together and celebrate. And because we were raising funds for mental health, what better thing to do than to bring everybody together, make them feel good and get behind Weka, which is our local organisation, all about empathy and kindness, New Zealand. And isn't that such a key subject for this year, 2020, the year of not being attached to any plans that you might make?
Dunedin's event was led by teacher and trained dancer Hannah Rouse, who says doing this sort of thing in public is good for both the dancers and spectators alike.
It's so much fun. I think just being outdoors and dancing and performing is just a really, really enjoyable thing. And I think in terms of it linking to mental health, I think, yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, it's a really nourishing thing to do for your mind, body and soul.
Dunedin couple Martha and James are first-time participants in the Most Southern Wuther and say they only had a few days to learn the moves.
My boyfriend loves Kate Bush and he told me about it, and we didn't expect that they were going to do it in Dunedin, but when we found out by a friend, we just prepared like It was this week?
3 days.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty shy person, so I don't typically dance in public, but it was good to push through that. I found out about it 3 days ago, so after work I was practicing the moves in the mirror, trying to learn them all, but learned them well enough.
A crowd of friends, supporters and appreciative members of the public watched on, and money raised was donated to Dunedin-based mental health organisation Weka. In Dunedin, the South Today.
New Zealand's general election will be held next Saturday on the 17th of October. Over the next week, the South Today will bring you a series of quick statements from the leaders of the 5 main contending parties. Tonight we start with Jacinda Ardern, the leader of the Labour Party.
Looking after people's well-being has always been part of Labour's DNA. It's who we are, and that's why when COVID-19 came along, that's why we focused on people's health and well-being. It's why we invested in the wage subsidy, and it's why, as part of our COVID recovery and rebuild, we will be focused on job creation, supporting small businesses, and looking after New Zealanders' health and well-being. I'm asking for New Zealanders' support to keep going, keep up with our momentum and our recovery plan this September 19th. To Otago and Southland, I hope over the past 3 years you've seen Labour's commitment to investing in our regions, investing in health and education, whether or not it's the Dunedin Hospital or making sure that we're contributing to flood rebuilding plans in Southland, or helping us transition as we deal with the potential closure of TY in the future. I'm asking for support for us to be able to keep going, keep rebuilding New Zealand on September 19th.
After the break on the South Today, competitive cyclists put pedal to the metal in Southland, and we look at the weather. Hea koko aki nei.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Step into Shop on Carol and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Hi, Campbell Menswear. We're back in George Street on the corner of Hanover Street. Come and check out our big store. It's a big space full of bargains. Now look at these shirts. There's shirts for everybody here. Look at these merino pullovers, stacks of moleskins, literally tons of trousers. And check out these big racks of sports jackets. Beautiful.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So come and check out Alex Campbell Menswear. We're back on George Street in the old ANZ building.
Ah, TV, our favourite babysitter. But it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر.
No mai no. This year's Yunka Tour of Southland had young cyclists from all over the country competing down south over the weekend. This year, the 6-stage cycling race included courses in Wyndham and Bluff.
Teenage cyclists from all over the country convened in Bluff over the weekend, taking part in this year's Yunka Junior Tour of Southland. Timaru-based cycling coach and former Olympic medalist Mark Ryan says it's important for the competing youngsters to keep their energy levels up over the 3-day tour.
Most important now for these kids is just nutrition, because you're not used to it. So it's about making sure they get enough fuel, I guess, for each day, because it does add up. Even though the stages seem short, they do. It does take a toll for 3 days in a row.
Started in 1984, the event has grown and evolved, and this year included stages in Bluff, Wyndham and Invercargill. And Ryan says the strong Southland winds can make cycling on a flat equivalent to the energy expenditure of a hill climb.
The wind is the biggest thing. So, like, say if you're racing, like the wind on a flat bit of road can almost cause more damage than, say, climbing Bluff Hill. Time-wise.
This year's Yunka Junior Tour of Southland will be followed by the National and South Island Secondary Schools Track Championships in the middle of the week, and the third and final round of the National Track Series next weekend. In Southland, the South today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. Emotions are running high in Oahu as residents come to terms with losing everything in a major fire. Avid anglers cast their lines into Lake Wakatipu, taking part in an annual fishing competition. And maybe the world's oldest junior competitor takes to the golf course with a playing partner less than half his age. And now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, we welcome editor Barry Stewart.
Hello Simon. Ohau fires, of course the biggest news of the weekend, and will be for some time yet. We'll have the latest developments on that in the newspaper tomorrow. Our reporter and photographer were taken on a special tour of the devastated site, so we'll have those images and stories of those affected in the paper tomorrow. Federated farmers claim that ungrazed land in New Zealand's high country is increasing the risk of fire is opportunist nonsense, according to environmentalists. So that's a reply to a story we had in the paper this morning. Christian leaders across the South have written to the Southern District Health Board urging it to rethink a proposed multi-faith centre for the new Dunedin Hospital. Right. So that'll cause a bit of a reaction. And from the University of Otago, projects worth tens of millions of dollars will be reviewed as the university by the university, which has to come up with a new plan for capital development.
That's great, Barry. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And time now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the city view, a Samoan flag fluttering in the breeze over South Dunedin. Looking at the situation, it's more good flag flying weather this week as southwesterlies continue. They bring showers to most places on the eastern and southern coasts. It should become finer later in the week, but may be frosty inland. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, Greymouth and Westport share 15 degrees and rain. Up to the northeast, Nelson and Blenheim both have cloud and warm temperatures. It's 20 degrees in Nelson, 22 for Blenheim. In Canterbury, the scattered showers in Kaikoura and Ashburton should miss a cloudy Christchurch. 19 degrees for Kaikoura, 18 for Christchurch and just 14 degrees for Ashburton. To the southern towns, where southwesterlies lighten and it's 12 degrees for all, the Catlins, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore. Up in central Otago, the winds blow through Wanaka, Alexandra and Queenstown. It's 12 and 13 degrees for you. Those southwesterlies ease for Te Anau, where it's 12 degrees and fine. To the northern towns, where Timaru farewells the wind but welcomes the rain on 15 degrees. And Oamaru, the opposite, showers clearing for you, but those southwesterlies pick right back up again and 14 degrees. Those inland, Twizel and Omarama, are lucky enough to be afforded both, 13 degrees. In Dunedin, an overnight low of 9, while rain and strong cold southwesterlies develop in the early morning. Showers clear before lunchtime tomorrow, as the sun barely peeks through a mostly overcast afternoon. The southwesterlies continue and it doesn't get much warmer, a high of 12 and a low of 7 degrees. More rain on Wednesday, I'm afraid, as the southwesterlies are even colder, a high of 11 and a low of 5 degrees. And in Invercargill, it's rain and southwesterlies tonight for you as well, with a low of 7 degrees. Tomorrow should be brighter as showers and winds ease, and you should see some sun, a high of 13 and a low of 8. But both wind and rain are back on Wednesday, a high of 10 and a low of 5 degrees. And that's the news this Monday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz or follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Nō reira, kia pai te pō, ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Campbell Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.